Welcome to Hairy Man History. I've got a good one for you today. After the story of prospectors being attacked by mountain gorillas on Mount St. Helens became a sensation, expeditions were launched to hunt down these mysterious creatures by those who saw themselves as masters of the universe. But for local Native American tribes, these beings were no surprise. They had walked through their stories, haunted their dreams, and stalked the edges of their fires for generations. To the native tribes, these beings were the devil they knew, and the devil the white man don't. What gives this article its grit and backbone is that it comes from the Real American, a newspaper written by and for Native American Indians. It gives us rare and invaluable insight, echoes of elders' voices, and glimpses of truths that words alone can't capture. There's always been a presence in the woods, something man has always sensed, but could never quite put a finger on. It's a feeling that stirs deep inside, beyond the senses we know, awakening a sixth sense buried within us, a primal awareness that something is out there, unseen, but watching. Unlike the white settlers who brushed these beings aside as fables, until recent sightings stirred belief, the native tribes such as the Klallam, Chehalis, and Quinault have always known them as giant Indians, a cross between beast and man. For the tribes, the expeditions of outsiders were doomed before they even began, for they knew what the white man did not, that these beings were not bound by earthly laws. With strength beyond measure and abilities beyond understanding, they are not creatures to be stalked, but spirits to be reckoned with. One chilling story in this article tells of an old native woman who witnessed a battle where her tribe was laid to waste, the men cut down by these beings with brutal and merciless force. Another recalls an uncle who came upon a band of these beings in the woods, an encounter so vivid it clung to him like smoke and shadow. So let's step back into their world and listen to the voices of the past. This article first appeared in the Oregonian, Portland, Oregon, Thursday, July 17th, 1924. Ape hunt to fail, Indians predict. Seeahtik said to roam Spirit Lake. Strange events related. Big-breasted giants take revenge on tribesmen. Cedar left on dead. Shaggy monsters reputed to be strong enough to pull heads off humans. By George Totsky, Klallam Tribe, editor of the Real American, Hoquiam, Washington, July 16th, special. That the ape-man hunt now being conducted by Kelso people will meet with failure is the foregone conclusion of Indians of the Northwest, who know the habits and supernatural powers of these Seeahtik Indians, or the lower class of the Seahtiks, which the Klallams call the Tayapish, or Nung Nung, the name given them by the lower Chehalis tribe. Local Indians assert that the Seeahtik tribesmen generally make their appearance around Mount St. Helens the later part of July, and as a general rule, do not remain there very long. Then they move north to the Olympic Range, where they do their fall fishing in the upper parts of the Quinault and the Brennan River. Then about the 1st of November, or with the first breath of winter, they start their southward journey to Vancouver Island, where they remain during the entire winter. Spirit Lake weird. Old Indians of the Upper Chehalis, the Cowlitz, and the Quinault assert that Spirit Lake is a weird lake. Many strange things have happened there, and many weird tales and legends abound in the region of Spirit Lake country. It is said of the old Indians that only the strong among them sought their Tamanawias, or soul power in the lake. There were some who came back and became strong medicine men among their tribe, but more often, they were never heard from again. Alan Chenois, a local Indian, told the following story to the writer regarding the Seeahtik Indians. My uncle, Old Man Chenois, told me once that he found a party of other Indians while out hunting some years ago, and came upon a band of the Seeahtik Indians during their evening meal in Baker's Slough on Willapa Bay. The giant Seeahtik seemed to be talking to others in queer animal sounds, which my uncle could not make out. The Seeahtik licked his greasy paws, then wiped them on his naked sides. Crouched around him on their hams were several others. Tribesmen deep-chested. In appearance, they were very much the same. They were tall, narrow-hipped, and had crooked legs, and at the same time were deep-chested, with heavy arms and enormous hands. They were covered with thick hair and had large breasts. Their heads were matted with uncut hair and black glittering eyes, like the eyes of birds. Their jaws were massive. At one side of them, partially devoured, lay a carcass of a deer. It was a clear starlight night, and we could make them out very plainly. But they were so ferocious looking, my uncle said that we did not stay very long. Alan Chenois added that the Seeahtik had not killed any Indians of the past generation that he knows of, but he had heard that former Chehalis Indians had been murdered at times by these giant Indians. They were so strong, it is known that they could pull a grown man's head right off. L. Peter James of the Lumi tribe related last year to the writer that the Seeahtik always leaves a tiny branch of the cedar tree at places where they have visited, or upon people whom they have killed or played a practical joke on. The Duwamish tribe at one time related that some of their women had been stolen. The Seeahtiks, in a rage, killed 12 of the Duwamish tribe by ripping them in two. Mr. James's mother, who was still alive, was a witness to the tragedy. She said, "They took our young men like toys, turning them upside down and ripping them in two like a piece of calico." Never again did the Duwamish tribe seek revenge when their women and babies were stolen by these Snailahum, or Indians of the night, and brothers to the Noseless One. It was a custom of theirs to steal dried salmon from the Lumi Indians, said Mr. James. The Seeahtiks are tall, hairy creatures and are great travelers. Tradition of the Pacific Coast Indians bears out the fact that they were animals at one time, and during the process of evolution, when they were changing from the animal to man, the Seeahtiks did not absorb the tamanawias, or soul power, and thus they became an anomaly in the process of evolution. Just because these beings have abilities that are difficult to explain and challenge the way we typically prove something exists, doesn't mean they aren't real. Instead, it may be our limited perspective that prevents us from fully understanding them. Perhaps it's time we take these stories and the wisdom of those who have lived with these creatures more seriously. If we're willing to look at things differently, we might finally begin to grasp what these beings are and the role they play in our world. I hope you liked this one. If you did, fire a thumbs up at me. I'd greatly appreciate it. As always, keep searching, keep questioning, because the answers are out there. Until next time.